Hello, hi everyone. I hope that you're all doing great. My name is Harriet Khataba, and I am the founder of HerStoryMatters. And this is Women Leadership Year-Long Tribute, which is sponsored by HerStoryMatters, an organization that partners with women, communities, organizations, and institutions around the globe to provide access and opportunities for women in education, healthcare, economy, and leadership. And today I have with me Ruqayya Daville, and she is a branding specialist, an amazing woman, and a coach, and someone that I consider a friend. And I'm so excited to bring her on. I'm just going to bring her on so you can all say hello and just get started. Hi. How are you?
Hi, Harriet. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for saying yes and making time for this today.
Oh, it's a
Really
pleasure.
appreciate that.
It's a total pleasure. Not a problem.
Thank you. So, share a little bit about yourself. I didn't really want to do your intro because I think we speak better about ourselves. And I think you're amazing. Your work is brilliant. Personal branding, like literally. Um, Share a bit about yourself and how you actually got to do what you're doing at the moment.
Well, I've been in business for 21 years, and I started my business because I didn't want to be shoehorned into a kind of work culture that didn't suit me.
Mm,
And so, and at the time, I was a single mother with a 3-year-old child, and I thought to myself, there must be a better way.
mm,
And I started my first business in 2002. And I grew that business up, which was a medical legal consultancy, right up to a 6-figure company. And I'm super proud of it. But I decided to close that business in 2020 when I paid off my mortgage, basically. And it was an opportunity for me to think, okay, I had another business, which was more my passion. It was more where I felt I could bring a little bit more of myself, my personality, and my experience to the table. And I launched Ruqayya Daville, which is my brand name, which is obviously me. And I started off as a business mentor, but actually my passion is really about branding and marketing. And
mm,
and because I think one of the most beautiful things about branding and marketing is actually the inner work that goes with it. It's about
mm.
bringing brand strategy, marketing strategy, with soul calling. And to me, I think that is the magic piece of what I love to do.
Amazing. I love how you've put that through, and I know we're going to hear more about it as we keep going. So, um, we talk about personal branding, and I know a lot of times entrepreneurs, business women, everyone just hears about personal branding and then business branding, and it can kind of be confusing, you know. So what is personal branding?
Well, personal branding for me, this is how I see it. Branding for corporate clients, for um, legacy businesses, like Apple and Lulu and Armani. That has a branding from a corporate perspective, but
Mm,
personal branding for me is when it could be from somebody who's just wanting to create a website and do some spiritual healing, just a one woman soul entrepreneur, that just wants
mm,
to, share her gifts with the world. But, you know, and she doesn't quite know how to go about doing it. So personal branding is looking at her vision, her dreams, and what she wants to create, and
mm,
then taking that woman on a journey and making it not all about her, because actually it isn't all about her, but it's about her and how she is going to resonate with her audience. So to me, it's looking at bringing the energetic part of the inner work to the
mm,
outer image. And
mm,
it's about one individual, one woman who really wants to be known for something. It doesn't mean I
Mm,
haven't done legacy brands. I call them legacy brands. I mean, I had a client recently that's setting up a neurodiversity website, and that is about creating a corporate identity. But my preference is that personal, individual branding experience.
mm. I love how you bring it in. 'Cause I've never really thought about it like that. The inner work into the branding, and I think this is one of the areas that people really struggle, because you have to really go within to go outside and say, this is how I want it to look like. And I think most of the time when people are thinking about companies, they spend so much time doing their marketing and looking at what other brands look like, and then they want to emulate that. Um, so your approach is very holistic in that sense, because it just describes the business and it shows, so there's no discrepancy between the actual person, how they present themselves, and who they are. Because sometimes it feels like that when you meet people, you see, their personal branding is amazing. Then when you start talking to them, you're thinking, actually, um, what I saw is not really what I'm encountering here. So how important is it for us to be able to curate that personal branding that really aligns with who we are in terms of how we engage with other people?
Look, do you know something? I want to say, just want to catch on a point that you mentioned about emulating other brands. There's no real harm in it, because I think
Mm,
we need to look at it that they inspire us.
mm,
So I don't mind, looking at market research and looking at what other brands are doing.
mm,
It's the copying of it that is the issue,
yeah,
because it becomes a bit shallow then, doesn't it?
yeah,
It's shallow branding. It's not bringing the whole you to the table.
mm,
So there's so to me, when a client comes to me, I'm all about really understanding who they are. But you know what? And I'm sure you've been like this, Harriet, because you've been in business for a long time.
mm,
Business is a spiritual journey, whether you like it or not.
yeah.
And I may not be answering your question here because I've completely forgot it. I'm going to be honest, because I'm in my own little flow here. But, and the branding process is almost like a conscious bit of processing of relocating yourself, finding out
Mm,
actually what is my mission? What are
mm,
my strengths? What is my
mm,
magic? And how am I going to bring that out into the world?
mm,
And the clients, because I don't know, I think some of them get a little bit shy. And I know I've been there
mm,
myself, showing the full view. Recently, I was
absolutely.
on a call with someone else, and I said, and we're talking about our solstice, solstice last week. And I was just thinking, okay, so I'm going to look at my individuality in a bit more depth. I want to go a little bit deeper because I don't think I'm bringing my whole self to the table here. I'm sure I've got more to give that has been suppressed or ignored or socially conditioned out of me. And I want to go and investigate that. So a lot of the time is about understanding who you are and then what you want to bring to your audience, how you want to serve,
Mm,
what impact you want to give. But you can only give that impact if you feel really comfortable with who you are. Because if you're
mm,
not, you can't show up with confidence. And part of that branding process I take my clients through is just to give them that little confidence buzz so that when it comes to the marketing, they can breathe and say, I know who I am, I know my mission, I know my values, I know where I'm going. This is me.
mm, mm. Yeah. Um, I mean, you've just hit the nail on the head with regards to that, because it is something that I have seen with myself. I mean, we've been having this conversation around personal branding and working together. And it always feels like there's a kind of evolution going on. And the evolution is great because it's unearthing who we really are and, finding out the pieces of ourselves that we've neglected for so long. Because when we do business for so long, it gets to a point where for you to be able to break through to the next level, you have to shed so many of the things which, are not serving you anymore. And we tend to look at these things from the outside, but when you actually go on the inside, you realize, oh my goodness, I haven't really honored this part of me. And I want to honor her so much more and to bring her to the surface. And this just makes your brand flourish. And, it gives you that unique perspective and kind of like innovative look. And I think that's really what makes us stand out, in terms of personal branding, in terms of making that mark, in terms of
Certainly.
attracting clients. Um, And you've answered that question perfectly well. It's just, you know.
Good. Because all of a sudden, my menopausal brain, I'm thinking, am I answering her question? I'm not quite sure. I mean, I remember a conversation that we had when I was in Glastonbury, and I was in what I thought was going to be a luxury pad, ended up to be a shed. We won't go into that. And we were talking about branding. And I can remember that conversation, Harriet,
Mhm. It was an
but,
amazing conversation. It
I'm
was
just so
one of the most
passionate.
amazing conversations.
Yeah, I'm just so passionate about it because I think there's something really uniquely beautiful in every single one of us. But one of the things is that it's about encouraging that person to lead
Hmm.
her own convictions,
Hmm.
and I just think part of the branding and marketing is about cultivating the leader within.
Mm, absolutely. Ab- oh my God, absolutely. Um, what do we need to keep in mind whilst curating our personal brand?
Well, I think when it's different for everybody, yeah. So when a client comes to me, I just work with her individually, so I see where she is at, you know. But I do like to start off by looking at the overall vision because
Mm,
I think most of us all have loads of ideas. We
mm,
have all these ideas in our head, but we don't know how to articulate them.
mhm,
We don't know how to, you know, talk about them because
mhm,
a lot of people jump into all of the aesthetics first, like the colors, the topography, sort of like the design element features. And to me, that comes a little bit further down the line because I want to know about the reason why, what their vision
mm,
is. Because when we've got really clear on that, and a lot of people think it's over there. I want to create something, but it's over in the distance and it's not tangible yet. I can't feel it yet. I've got this great idea, but it's not tangible. It's just over there.
mm,
So the first thing we have to do is make it tangible, make it real, make it, like we're anchoring in to her soul, to her
mm,
feet, to her root chakra, to the
mm,
earth, exactly what it is that she wants to create and what that vision is. And then we look at
mm,
what quality she has to bring it to the table. Because a lot of
mm,
people get confused about, and I had a client come to me. I offer these sort of like little connection sessions to see if we can work together because I believe that connection is really important.
mm,
And sometimes I have to refuse clients because I don't feel the connection. Sometimes I think, yeah, the connection's there, I'm going with it. And she came to me and, and she was just so, her vision, I understood it, but she just didn't. She just felt like there was so many saboteurs at play here that I found
Mm.
I just felt as if the vision was so big that she couldn't make it into a reality. Do you know what I mean? And so we just had to, sort of bring that sort of down to, one simple vision. I'm going to be honest with you. She said, "Oh, I've got this product and I want to sell it to the whole of Africa." And I'm thinking
Okay.
to her, wow. And then I was thinking of all the different cultures in Africa, from the top to the bottom, to the left to the right. And, I'm African naive, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
I said, okay, that's a massive continent. Okay, let me just bring it back down to one little thing. I said, which country out of Africa that you would, Nigeria. Oh, okay, go to the biggest country, one of the biggest populated. And I said, okay, no problem. I said, well, where, and was just trying to nail it, bring it down, bring it down, bring it down so it become manageable. And then
Yeah.
she can grow from that seed. And then she can do the whole of Africa, but she can't do the whole of Africa right from the start.
At
She just
once.
got. And then I was
Yeah.
thinking of all the cultures in Africa, and I was thinking of all those amazing women in Africa. And then I was thinking, all of the differences and honestly, I just thought, wow. So I said, let's choose one and we really get to know them really well. And then we
Mm.
work on the rest over the next few years. So, and I think, that's the most important bit, is really anchoring in your vision in a realistic and tangible way.
Mm. It is very interesting because it's one of the things that, and I think, as a coach, you get to see this a lot when people come to you. Well, this is what I want to achieve, and you're thinking, okay, what have you achieved before? What have you done? And then you look at just the steps to be able to get there. Because I think when we think about what we want to do, we think of the finished product and we want to do the finished product, but it takes steps to get to the finished product. And I think um, what I'm hearing from you, it's similar with personal branding. It's concepts that you have to, build and continue to, grow and refine before you actually get to how you. And I don't think we ever get to a point where we're thinking, yeah, this is me, and just stay there, you know. Um, so just to keep the evolution going, but I've never really thought about it in terms of personal branding. I've never looked at it, that way. It's really interesting to think of it like that. I might have made similar mistakes. I just don't know.
There's nothing wrong with having a massive, big, audacious vision for your life or for your
Yeah.
business. I'm all for it. I'm gonna be your biggest cheerleader.
Yeah.
But when you start a business, we have to just make sure, because what I do with branding, what I look at branding, and I'll tell you in my own experience, yeah. As you know, I've just come out of a health crisis. I've been on a health journey, and luckily I'm out the other side. But any kind of impact on your personal life impacts your business, but it also impacts, there's a shift or a change in you. And
Mm.
so my branding, at the beginning of 2019, 2020 is completely different from now. And the reason for that is because I recognize that my cancer journey changed me. And
Mm.
with that, I needed to evolve or elevate my branding accordingly because it wasn't ringing true or resonating to me.
Mm.
So, but what I do is I go back to my brand style guide, my brand foundations, my vision, my mission, my impact, my values, my personality, my lovely words. And I go back to that because I reflect and do the work. When everybody does a rebrand, yeah, it's not just a startup,
Mm.
this is a rebrand. Yeah, you go back to what you had. So when you've done your personal branding the first time round, you have this beautiful, archive of information. There's like your seeds that you've
Mm,
planted. They're anchored in. All my values are very much similar. They're similar. It's
mhm,
just that how I want to serve has changed.
mhm,
So that's why it's so important to have in a personal branding is to have those anchor points, those touch points,
mm,
and
mhm,
understanding that it's embodied in you, that you know who you are, how you want to lead, how you want to serve, and the impact
mhm,
you want to make. And then
mhm,
whenever you want to rebrand, you go back to that because that's your starting point.
mm,
You know, it's an understanding of you and your business. Now, obviously, beginning of this year, I went back and looked at it and said, okay, right, there's some changes, right? So I don't have the same bandwidth now. I don't have the same energy. So I tend to work with my clients differently. I don't want to do those 3-month packages. I want to do sort of like short, sharp, get in there, laser focused, let's dive in and just create something wonderful and magical that will resonate to their clients. So I've got to, so it's either going to be in 90 minutes, which is just an introduction, or a month pack. And do you know what? That's because of my energy. So I shifted my offerings
mm,
because I've changed. And then I thought, okay, so now I'm looking at my branding to make sure that what I'm offering is aligned to my brand values, to my brand promise, to my brand mission, and the impact or the transformation I want my client to experience.
mm,
That's why it's so important that when a change comes that impacts you,
mm,
it could be motherhood, it could be a
mhm,
divorce, yeah, it could be loss of a job, and you want to start, whatever that trigger may be, you feel that your soul calling is calling for something else. You
yeah,
go back and you just make sure you're aligned, and then you bring it
yeah.
into your rebrand. That's the importance of having personal
It's
branding anchored into your roots of your business.
this is I love how you said that because it you've covered one of the questions that I wanted to actually ask because I think it's important to keep all of those things that you've mentioned, and I love how you've articulated it because it's not just textbook. You've been able to go in there and use yourself as an example, so I can see myself in what you're describing. Because I think when we talk about branding in general, it's usually so textbook, um, and it doesn't get very personal. And I think when we look at entrepreneurship and even leadership and personal branding, it is, you're so much of a people person. We're talking about leadership, we're talking about direct impact.
Yeah.
And the more you can, the more people can get a feel of your personal branding before they actually meet you, half the work is done for you, Um, and just the way you've described it, I don't think I've had it spoken like that. It's usually very textbook detached, when discussing personal branding. It's like, oh, well, what colors, and I know they're all very valuable, but I think just being able to understand where you are in life. Like when you see someone who's divorced, their identities, they look at themselves different. So how they do things will be different, and how they will engage with people is going to be different. And that will show in their personal branding as well. So it's mutual. That's what I'm trying to say, in other words. Yeah.
There's another. I get where you're going because it's a business evolves. This is a spiritual journey. Yeah.
Mhm,
You're here to do good. Your message is part of your movement, which is one of my things I say. Your message is your movement.
I'm gonna
It's
start
what
saying
I'm a great believer in. Your message is your movement. And I tend to work with women who are like yourself, impactful, want to create change, want to be part of the change.
it. Mhm,
But we change. and our branding will evolve with us. Now, there is something else I want to mention is about it isn't all about us. It's also about our audience, the
Mm-hmm.
clients we want to bring in. Because if you're giving out mixed messages and you keep changing your branding every 5 seconds and you're changing your message every 10 minutes, you know, people get confused.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that branding does is it's the starting point for how your clients can relate to you. It's
Mm-hmm.
how your clients feel into the promise that you're going to make. So when somebody goes onto a website, they usually made an opinion within what 5 to 10 seconds, whether you're for them or not, just purely on the tagline, the aesthetic feel, the some of the copy, they've already made. I'm not saying a judgment, but they've made a sense of you,
Mm-hmm.
and whether that's right or wrong, and and to me, I don't mind how many people drop off my website because I'm not right for them. It just saves me an awful lot of time talking to people who I'm just not the right fit for.
It does.
So, yeah. And recently I set up my community, and I had two new people that came up, and they came into one of the calls, and they said, "Oh my God, your words spoke to me." That's a sign that your branding, your message is clear. Or your words spoke to me. I just had to come in. And then she told another person. And then she said, oh yes, I'm going to say the name Lily, but it's not her name. And so Lily just mentioned about me. I said, I just wanted to meet you. So I've joined because she was saying so many things that just resonated with me. I really want to be part of your community because, what you're doing is where I need to be to support my vision for my business. So they went on my website, they joined my community, they had a conversation with me. And they're still part of my community. I haven't put them off yet, right? Just as a joke.
That's the most important thing.
But basically, what it is, sorry. So basically, put them off yet. So basically, the message got through, and then people were sharing the message, and and that's what it means to. If you get your message and your branding and the vibe and the energy and you speaking your truth beautifully, it just cuts down the time wasters. You just get to the people who matter to you most. And and those people saying, yes, I can work with that lady, or oh, I like her vibe. Oh my god, she's speaking my language, and which is my favorite, by the way. And because you're actually reaching into their heart, their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You're giving them hope, you're giving them inspiration, you're giving them strategy, you're giving them a way forward. Whatever it is that you're trying to create, they're feeling you. They're feeling you, and that is the part of what branding is about. It's about making sure that everything that you put on show in your visibility is very clear, that it will only attract those people who really want to be hanging out with you, who want to purchase from you, who want to be part of your gang,
Yeah.
who want to, who believe that you are going to make a difference in their lives or their family
Mm-hmm.
lives
Mm-hmm.
or their
Mm-hmm.
community lives. So
Mm-hmm.
getting it right is about making sure that the people that you resonate with gets to hear about you beautifully.
Absolutely. What would you say is the biggest challenge that um, entrepreneurs and leaders actually face when they're, when they're curating their personal brand?
Is this startup or rebrand? Because it's two separate clientele. It's two separate
Mm,
energies. From a startup perspective, majority of the time, they do not know who they are,
mm,
and they want to jump to
wow.
they want to jump too quickly.
Mm.
Oh, I want to be doing 5K months. Great. There's nothing wrong with having a 5K month.
I want to do 6K. I want to do six figures. Okay, in
So,
10 days.
so over it. I mean, I've built a six-figure business. I know what goes into a six-figure business. I know what foundations you need to create a sustainable six-figure business. So we have to just get rid of all those myths. I mean, I'm not saying you can't earn money. I mean, money, financial empowerment is something I absolutely adore. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
nothing wrong with it. But,
Hmm.
people get drawn into some of the myths that,
Mm,
I can do this. But, I prefer a sustainable business that can grow
thank you.
rather
Hmm.
than creating a business that's just for the good times.
Yes,
I'm here for the long haul, not just the good times.
yes.
And if you want to go for the long haul and create a business, I mean, I've been in business for 20 years. How long have you been in business,
Mm.
Harriet? It must be going on
Oh, it's
18.
it's around 18. I haven't clocked 20 yet. And I would say, for me, when I started, I was still exploring what I really wanted to do, and I was doing business based on my talents only and what I was passionate about. So I would do the business, make tons of money, and then be like, I'm actually bored. What else do I want to do? Um, that's how it really was for a very long time until I think until I got to a point where I thought, okay, her story matters started, and then the coaching and the consultancy just kind of like evolved from my experience, my skills, and the
Yeah.
expertise. But it's not something that I said I want to do this. It just found me, I would say. Um, but it's been quite some time.
So if you look at that wealth of experience, somebody that's just starting out, hasn't got that. So and so they believe whatever is. So I tend to just try and okay, let's breathe. Let's just figure out what you who you are, because I want to create really good, strong foundations that you can grow from a sustainable business. Now,
Absolutely.
if they're for a rebrand and they've been in business like yourself 18, 20 years, it's usually because there's been a personal evolution inside
Mm,
themselves. There's been some form of revolution that is now taking place, and they want to pivot, or they want to shift, or they want to, build another business, or they want to build a product line, or they want to
mm,
add on to their existing business. But they're having to learn how do they need a total rebrand, or do they need to think differently about how they want to grow their business in the future. So, for example, um, I was working with a cosmetic company
mm,
in COVID season, and they were struggling. I mean, they were struggling because their shop was closed, and it was a small, and I was trying to get them on to be more online. They had an online presence, but their online presence was lacking in connection. It was
mm,
lacking in empathy. It was lacking in energy. So, and I just, and, but, and I had to take them from being a bricks and mortar business to look at their online business to see if how they can improve
mm,
their business from, and this was more marketing than branding, but we did look at their branding vision. We did go
mm,
back to those brand foundations to make sure that we're in alignment across all touch points. So, and so they, so they did go online and they started to get some traction on their social media. We got their branding a little bit more on point, but it was more about their messaging and their email
mm,
marketing and how they were communicating with their existing customers and new customers. And that's the message part of it, was where we started to tweak more. And I think that's
mm,
interesting because they
yeah,
did start to increase their sales, because at the end of the day, sales are sales, but it's a way of
yeah.
staying true to you and selling, marketing from your soul, empathy marketing, soulful sales, all of that kind of thing, that you don't feel you're taking away from yourself. So there's two ways of looking about whether it's a startup or
Mm.
an evolution.
That's I like that you've actually set the distinction. And I would say, when you ask me that question about, why I'm in business and you start explaining that, I can actually see where one of my challenges is, and I'm sure many people would be facing this challenge. It's when you have multiple businesses and then you're evolving and the businesses are evolving. So, for instance, with Her Story Matters, it's been around 11 years, and so she's not a baby anymore. She's going to be a teenager, and she's getting her own character, right? She's getting her
Oh,
own
she
unique.
is Her Story
Um,
Matters rebelling then? Is she going through a rebellion at the moment, Her Story Matters?
I feel that this is why I said she's about to be a teenager, right? She's going through rebellion, right? And then my other businesses, they're still at the phase where they still love mommy and they want to spend so much time and they want to listen to mom, right? And then mom has changed as well. She's gone through so many different transformations, but so there's so much going on, and I'm sure there's people who go through that, especially if they've got multiple businesses. Um, so you bringing that in just helps the audience or anyone who's going to watch this to really understand the challenges they might be facing and help them find the right person to help with the transitions, because it's a lot. There's so much going on, and it's easy to get lost into it, especially if you're trying to do it alone.
I agree with you. Sometimes when we do it alone, we get lost in the murky waters of uncertainty and we don't allow
Mm,
enough mystery to. And also, there's nothing wrong with actually getting support and asking for help.
yeah.
And it is, you have to be mindful of choosing the right mentor and the right coach. I have to be honest
Mm,
there.
mm,
They have, and one of the things I would recommend everybody doing is know your own values as a woman.
mm,
So for me, integrity or congruency, I need to live. I'm a great believer in self-agency, in that
mm,
I'm not here, I can handhold, but yeah, you're responsible for your own evolution, you're responsible for your own healing. Self-agency is a big thing with me. And also divine truth, which is about being true to yourself. So
mm.
whoever, those are my values, and
Yeah.
business values will probably be something is very clearly stated, is that I believe we need to change the way we do business so that we focus on people, planet, then profit. PPP.
Mm.
Because when you care for your people and you care for the planet, then profit will come. That's my belief. So, and I want to, and I believe in working with people who want to create an impact, make a difference, who want, who are fed up with this world as it is, and they have a voice, and that message matters. So those are my
Absolutely.
values. But I need to make sure that the people I'm working with have those same values or very similar values. They don't have to be the same, but they have to be similar. There has to be some
Mhm.
synergy. There has to be some resonance,
Mm.
because that's when we can get creative. That's when we can get really messy. That's where we can start to
Absolutely.
create magic. And
mm,
that's what
mm,
I suggest any of you guys that wanting a mentor or coaching business, then or branding or marketing, is make sure that person A has experience, but B understands your vision and relates to your or understands your or resonates with your values.
mm,
It's only because I made
mm,
a mistake. I mean, I made a mistake. I went on this retreat once, and me as a spiritual woman sat there, and the first thing she said is, "I don't do woo woo."
uh-oh. Wrong
Okay.
place then, isn't it? Spiritual retreat. That's what we expect.
Okay. I don't do woo woo. And you know what? All of a sudden, I felt marginalized. And at
Mm,
first, I thought 80% of the people in this room are woo woo. And then I thought to myself, it's my mistake. I've invested, was it 1,500 2K in this retreat, and I learned within 5 minutes that I wasn't practicing what I preach. So now,
that's how
whenever
you ended up there. Oh my God.
I know, and then I'm just giving you an example
Yeah. Yeah.
of of the bad decision I made.
Hmm. Hmm. That's so funny
That's what I
though.
recommend.
Yeah.
I know.
Um, it's like going to a business retreat and then they say we're not going to speak about money. Okay. Why are we here?
Oh God.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny. So, what is the greatest challenge between how we portray ourselves and how we want to be seen?
Oh my God. That's oh my God. Energetics is so important in business, you know.
Mm,
And when we do the inner work, it then gets displayed in the outer image. Now, we may have a feel that I want to be sassy, even though quite a lot of people have said I am, you know, or maybe they said, oh, I want to appear introvert, or maybe they want to appear um, because they think that's what their audience wants. I've had a
mm,
client like this. Well, I need to appear sassy. I need to be like that kind of, like I've got my shit together and I need to. I said, have you got your shit together? No. I said, okay then. And are you sassy? Well, I can be. I said, are you sassy? It's ingrained. It's an energy. That's you. So, it will only take you so far if you perceive your audience wants you to be a certain way.
yeah.
It will only get you so far.
Mm,
So I know of a business coach who shows off this amazing lifestyle, and actually she
mm.
lives in a flat above a shop. That's the reality. So
Wow.
yeah, so basically what you depict is, to me, what they is incongruent to who you are and what your values and what you're trying to make.
Absolutely.
So you can have an image of what you want your clients or your audience to see you as,
Mm,
but let me tell you, after COVID, majority, particularly these Gen Zs and millenniums, yeah, they want more.
yeah.
There is a complete shift that now people are looking at. What are your values? What are you doing for this planet? What is your, what's the transformation I'm going to get? Are you real? Because with all this social
Mm,
media, you know, catfishing and all of this and lifestyles and influencers, and now they're thinking, actually, is this true?
mm,
Or is this just to catfish me? or to make me believe in
Yeah,
something. And I think we are getting, not all together, we are getting savvy.
that's
Are you
true.
here for the short time, the good time, or the long time? And I know that people in your community are going to be here for the long time. If you're going to be here for the long time, it's easier to show up as yourself, warts and all, because you know you can keep that
Mm,
one consistent.
right. That's true.
If I mean, I could
True.
very easily say that I'm, living in a mansion. Not. I do own my house,
Mm,
but I don't live in a mansion. I could say I'm
mm-hmm,
having loads of exotic holidays. Not.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Even though I
Yeah.
am
You
backpacking the
know,
Philippines in December. Do you understand what I mean? This is real. And I think people want raw, real, and messy, because it
yeah,
makes you relatable. So
yes,
you can do aspiration branding or you can do real branding, which still is transformative. It's a choice.
absolutely. And I think just because you want to market to people who have wealth does not mean you have to be in a mansion to be able to sell to people who live in a mansion. It is all about the service. It is all about how the quality of everything you're giving because they're used to a certain standard. You can actually offer that standard and still be in a flat, you know. Um, and
I agree.
it and also when it comes to things like values, I think we can try and sell, the high figures and the high ticket and everything else. But like you quite rightly say, at the end of the day, I want to know what is your belief system? Do you believe in humanity? Do you believe in giving? Do you believe in um love? Do you believe in looking after the planet? Do you want to save, animals? Do you love people? Are you against inequality? Because at the end of the day, when I work with you, that is what I'm going to encounter. You cannot lie that this is, social corporate responsibility. And then when I come in your space, I find that it's completely different. There's some people whose priority is not that. You can very well sell to those people because they don't really care. Um, and I think it also adds on to what you were saying about you just have to be real. You have to be real. And Rakaya has 20 years
I think
of, sorry, what was that?
my belief is this.
Mm,
Sorry, I believe in this. You can still make money being real.
yeah.
You don't have to sell an idea of you that's not true to you. You're more likely to make more money being real to yourself. And it's going to be sustainable because people will hang out with you for a lot longer. They will actually rebuy from you, repurchase from you, reinvest in you because it's all about the client journey.
Mm,
It's so important. That's why I talk about client attraction a lot. Because what the most magical thing is that you're taking them on a journey. They get to see you. You take them on the journey. They start to feel you. You take them on a journey. You start to impact them so
mm,
that you make different choices or whatever the impact you want to make. Then they start to invest in you. It's a slow journey, but once they've invested and you are staying true to yourself throughout the whole process, so for me, when these two women came into my free community, they came in and said, "Oh my God, I resonated with your message." They had a conversation with me. They still went away saying, "She's exactly like she said on the tin." And so, it's sustainable growth
mm,
because those people, when they interact with you, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's on a Facebook Live, whether it's in person, they're going to see the real you and they're going to fall in love with you and they're going to believe in you. They're going to tell everyone about you.
mm.
Does that make sense? It's that beautiful golden thread of marketing.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And I think that is the best way to end this podcast because when you were speaking, I just said to myself, yeah, this is it. You know, um, it's very well put. It is so authentic. It is so real. And I think, I had this sense that I had to have you on to speak about this, and I really see why, because it's a wisdom. It's a wisdom in it. It's not just a skill and the expertise. It's a wisdom in how to create what you want to create, in how you help your clients create what they create. And it's a wisdom in where we are going, um, and how we're transitioning from, the old dispensation, or whatever people want to call it, to the new, the new time, the new look. What are people interested in? And
Yeah.
how can we actually tap into that and make impact and still make money by being authentic? Because things are changing. Things are changing in such a way that um, the inner work is necessary.
Well, the inner work creates the outer lifestyle at the end of the day.
Mm,
And there's and if you desire to make impact and money, there is nothing stopping you except yourself. So that's where the inner work comes in. Oh, it's
absolutely
been lovely
amazing.
speaking to you.
Oh no, it's been perfect. I still wanted to stay there as I wrap up. And thank you so much for making time to share your expertise and your wisdom with us today, and yourself. And thank you so much for everyone watching. I'm going to put Ruqayya's information so you can find her on social media and go and look at her work, reach out to her and work with her. She's amazing. She's phenomenal. Um, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being here with us. Please share this podcast, and reach out to any of us. Ruqayya can answer any of your questions, and let us know what you think about what we've spoken about today. And until next time, it's goodbye from us. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.